Hey guys, what's going on? It's a Blockbull right about now, bringing you the latest episode to the channel. Now, we are literally a week away from Uptober, so we are all expecting, well, the market is expecting some serious gains come October, so we're literally a week away now. So this is a tweet from Ripple's Nipples. I quite like that name, actually. It's got a little bit of a ring to it, rhyme and crime. So here we go. We have this Bitcoin monthly returns in terms of percentage. So this data has been taken from CoinGlass. Now you can see any time that Bitcoin has closed in a green on the monthly for September, subsequently the following month, October, is usually a massive green month. So you can see here back in 2015, that percentage there for September was only 2.3%. Then the following month, we ran up over 33%. The following year, up 6% for September. The following month in October, up over 14%. Last year in 2023, we ran up almost 4% in September. The following month was 28.5%. So currently, as things stands, we are up around 7.6% for September. So if we do get this green close for September on the monthly candle, we are looking for a massive rally on Bitcoin come October, which is only a month away. Now, I'm currently on the XRP chart, but what I can do, guys, is show you the Bitcoin chart and how it's playing out and how I believe the Bitcoin chart could potentially play out now. So this is on the weekly, guys, here. Now, you can see here, we're currently printing a green candle. So as long as we close in the green, that is bullish news for Bitcoin going into October. Obviously, we've had the interest rate cuts as well, so that's bullish news for crypto. And I only expect Bitcoin to get going now. So I've just drawn out this fractal as well, guys. And I've also done the Elliott wave as well, where Bitcoin could potentially get initially going back about 12 months before this bull market really got going, before we got up to these sort of new all-time highs set back in sort of 21. I was drawing the Fibonacci lines. Now, the Fibonacci lines only had us up. In fact, I can actually draw them in now. So if we actually take the high of the previous cycle, we'll mark the bottom there. We're only looking, in my view, for Bitcoin to reach about that $227,000 mark. So that would take us up around this sort of level here. However, there is a case with these macro trend lines dating back ever since inception. You can see how the price actually interacts. Now, I'm just going to simplify this chart here. Now, you can see here, take the bottom here, first inception with Bitcoin. You took that first high off the initial sort of cycle back in January 2014. And then obviously you've got that 2017-18 high as well. So you can see how the price likes to interact with these upper blue trend lines. Okay, we actually had a double top in the last cycle there. So we actually breached it once. And before we actually rolled into the bear market, you can see here where we actually tapped the blue trend line, and then that's where we actually capitulated and rolled off the bear market ultimately. Now you can see we are literally where Bitcoin is literally so close to actually tagging that blue trend line now. And actually, if I actually flick over to the candles, I was hoping, or just out of curiosity, I was going to see if Bitcoin actually wicked into the blue trend line there before bouncing, but it didn't. You can see it's not up until around sort of September of last year where we actually made that bounce off the bottom trend line, acting as support, and that's where we rallied up to kind of challenge the double top from the previous cycle here. So this is like the consolidation phase now. So sooner or later, we are going to break this sort of structure here. Now, I do expect it to happen going into October now. So October is probably going to be the break of this structure. So Bitcoin more than likely is going to set a new all-time high next month, and then we may get a little bit of a retracement to kind of confirm that this sort of resistance has been flipped into support, and that basically gives us a green light then going into Q4 to really get going in the markets, and then Bitcoin can ultimately push on, hopefully challenge those sort of high fib levels around that 227K mark that I actually just shown you guys with the top of Fibonacci. But there is an argument that potentially Bitcoin could get all the way up here if we see a 5 count Elliott wave. Now that would put us up at this top trend line here around sort of September time, in my opinion, which is when Bitcoin bull market will come to an end. This is a super cycle this time around, guys. So do not rule out Bitcoin actually going up to about 500k this cycle before eventually making that ABC correction. And I do expect Bitcoin to actually roll over to these sort of levels now, because I believe where we've been consolidating now ever since March, since the end of sort of Q1, we have been forming this long accumulation consolidation sort of structure. Now that tells me that this will be a key sort of level of support later on once the bull market does come to an end. Towards the end of the 2025 cycle. So I believe this is what will happen. Something similar like this. Like, I'm not saying we can, although we can reach the top blue trend line, which I marked out around that 500k mark. Ultimately, I do believe we will reach the top fib around that 227k mark, and then we would roll over, and then we would probably back down. So this would probably be the bottom of the bear market. The next bear market that follows, obviously, this super cycle that we're going into now. So that's Bitcoin, which is really good for the rest of the market. Now we'll head over to XRP. Now XRP is still looking really good. Again, I can simplify this, guys, for you. I will put it with lines with marker just to kind of show you guys a little bit more clearly. Now you can see how clear this macro structure is. I like to keep my charts clean and simple as always, so they're easy to read, because if you're using 1,000,001 different indicators, you're just going to blind yourself with science. You don't look any smarter to me. If anything, you look more of a fool. The fact that you need MACDs, RSIs, moving averages, Fibonacci, Bollinger Bands all over the place. No, just use one tool at a time, because ultimately the best indication is price. Now, the price is always stipulated on every single chart, so you want to keep your charts as simple as possible. In my view, that's just my approach. Everyone's got a different approach, and it suits everyone differently. However, for you guys that have actually bought the XRP plan, the link is in the description over at blockbull.xyz. You can access the XRP plan here. You'll get that instantaneously dropped into your email. Now, double check the junk or spam email folder as well in case it does land in there. Okay, but ultimately you'll receive this instantly once you do purchase the plan, if you was to do so. Now, that plan gives you detailed sort of insight as to how pivotal and how important these two vertical lines are. So I've drawn two vertical lines on every single cycle before we got going. Okay, so this pink dotted line here, this vertical line, signals I've got as close to the Bitcoin halving as possible, because we have to mark out a Monday because it's a weekly chart. Okay, so they're the Bitcoin halvings, these pink vertical lines. Okay, dashed lines, and the yellow ones are in the US election week. Okay, so you can see here US election week, US election week. So ultimately, I've reiterated this in previous videos, the US election week is fundamental for entries in the market. Now, there's only a number of factors that we can actually control as traders and in investors in the market. Okay, so we can control when we buy stocks, shares, crypto, commodities, etc. We can control when we buy, and we can also control when we sell. Okay, so every strategy is basically when do we enter, when do we exit our positions. Now, I'm going to tell you guys for free because I'm pretty sound. And why not? Do you know what I mean? I want to help you guys. But ultimately, for me, the sort of best entries would be in the election week. Okay, or even prior, anywhere from the sort of Bitcoin halving up until the sort of US election. Now you can see here, US election, literally within a week or two, the bull market gets going straight after the US elections, and that's what's happened in the previous cycle. Now, US elections are always in the first week of November now, so we're literally a week away from October. So what's that? We are literally, about 5 weeks away, 5-6 weeks away from the bull market actually, going into that sort of explosive territory where we actually really ramp up and, start collecting some, serious gains in the market. So this is what I'm saying, guys. It's so important that you have a plan. So I basically told you guys that the best sort of optimum price to get in would be within that sort of US election week. However, what you need to know is when to expect these sort of first, second impulses and when you can expect to start taking profits. So in the XRP plan, they will stipulate everything, the exact dates, where I believe the price will be around that sort of time, and I'll give you the exact dates to take profits and when I expect the market to peak and ultimately end the bull market before we actually roll in over into the inevitable bear market. Okay, you can see here 95% retracement here. Now let's take a look at the previous cycle here. From the top to the bottom of this cycle here, you're talking about 80%. So yes, people are going to make money, because if you're following my non-financial advice getting in around the US elections, you're probably going to make a lot of money. But just know that you stand to return anywhere between 80 to 95% of your gains after this bull market. So you need the plan for the sake of like $100 and odd. It will save you thousands of dollars, and you can, obviously keep that capital in your back pocket. It's better in your back pocket than returning it to somebody else in the market, because you've got to understand this is a zero-sum game. You're pretty much on your own. In order for you to make money, somebody else loses money and vice versa. That's how markets are made. So institutions, you're basically up against institutions. It's us as retail traders now to find an edge. And I believe there is a strong edge within this XRP plan. Okay, so this is where we're trading. Now, you can see here, if we actually scroll in to the sort of apex that is marked out here on the log chart, we are literally a month or two away from actually reaching the pinnacle now. Now, again, US elections first week in November, but I believe Bitcoin is going to start outperforming some of the alts now. So Bitcoin for me is about 4 weeks ahead of the rest of the altcoin market. So I expect in the next 4 to 5 weeks, Bitcoin to start running up, especially with Uptober, because I've shown you guys the sort of returns based on historical data off this chart. We're expecting bullish sort of price action for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's going to run up now over the next 4 weeks. Then XRP, Ethereum, Solana, the sort of top 10, sort of top 20 cryptos, altcoins, they're all going to run up, and then probably some of the altcoin gems might lag a week or two behind the top sort of larger altcoins, if that makes sense. So we are pretty much there now, guys. Make sure you've got a crypto plan, because if you don't plan and you don't prepare to plan, ultimately you're preparing to fail. So just make sure you've done your research, your due diligence. Make sure you're on the correct side of history, because this is a super cycle that will not undoubtedly change generational wealth for your family. Do you know what I mean? So this is the difference between driving, I don't know, a Nissan Juke and a Lamborghini Urus come the end of sort of 2025, when the cycle comes to an end, guys. So there we have it. I'm going to wrap it up. If you enjoyed the video, like, share, subscribe as always. I shall see you in the next video. Blockbull over and out.